Welcome back to another Sunday prep day. If you're new here, every Sunday I prep for the week. So that means cutting all my vegetables and making things that take a little bit longer. So today I'm going to make some pork belly. I'm going to make some stock from that braising liquid as well for some ramen. I'm going to make a pasta sauce for some lasagna. And I'm going to make some coleslaw. So I'm just cutting up this onion to go in my braising liquid / stock for the pork belly. And let's just get started on the menu. So for lunch today on Sunday, as usual on Sunday, I'm going to have some sandwiches. I'm going to have some bacon sandwiches. I don't usually have carbs for lunch during the week. But on the weekends I have my cheat days. So I'm just going to put it in a big container because that's where I'm going to keep all my stock stuff. So, and then for dinner tonight, I'm going to have some lasagna. So that's with beef and lots of veggies, tomatoes, etc. So this onion I'm going to dice up for my coleslaw. Let's see, for Monday, meatless Monday. For lunch, what am I going to do for lunch? I'm going to do some coleslaw with some cauliflower wings. So those cauliflower wings, to keep them low carb, I'm going to use some almond meal for the coating, mixed in with some harissa spices for some flavor. And I'll just throw those in the air fryer. And then for dinner, I have some vegetarian shawarma. And I'll use that with some pita bread and some salad. So that's a spring mix and some cucumber. Then for lunch on Tuesday, more coleslaw, because I'm just going to make a big batch. And I'll have that throughout the week for lunch with just different kinds of meat. So this time I'll have that with probably some chicken thighs, bone-in, skin on. I'll just put those in the air fryer. Though I also have a pork chop in the freezer, or chicken breast. I can do a couple of things and I'll switch that out during the week. Then for dinner, I do Taco Tuesdays. And I will do some pork belly tacos. So that's pork belly, some coleslaw. I'll probably top it with some barbecue sauce. And this onion is going to go in my pasta sauce, among other things, and also some pasta. So that was Tuesday. For Wednesday, for lunch, I'm not going to have coleslaw for a change because I don't have that every day. I have some broccoli I'm going to make into broccoli rice because I have some stems. And I'll have that with some pork belly and maybe some low carb or zero sugar barbecue sauce. I don't know yet, but I'll do like a lime cilantro broccoli rice. Don't know if that's actually going to work that well, but I'm going to try it because I felt like lime cilantro rice. So I wanted to see if I can do that with broccoli rice. Then here I have a little bit of leek left, so I'll put that in my stock as well. I'm just going to cut that into rings. So that was for Wednesday for lunch. Then for dinner I'm going to do some pasta. I have some cream cheese and some bacon lardons that I need to use up. So I'll use that for some pasta. Don't know the shape yet. I have plenty of different kinds of pasta in my fridge. Not fridge, in the pantry. So I'll just decide which shape I feel I like most. So But yeah, that's going to be with cream cheese with some bacon, lardons, etc. And I'll throw in some broccoli as well, just to add up to the veg a bit. For my stock, I'll use some garlic. I'm just going to leave them whole because they're basically going to dissolve anyway. So, and these couple of cloves to go in things like my pasta sauce and my pasta. I'll just give that a quick dice. Then we were on Thursday, so more coleslaw, probably with a pork chop. But like I said, I can change the meat around because I just have different options in the freezer. And then for dinner, I'm going to use that pork belly again for some pork belly ramen. So the braising liquid from the pork belly, that's going to be the base of my stock for my ramen. And I'll add some things to that, like chili oil, etc., to make that nice and flavorful. And I'll have that with some green beans and some mushrooms. Speaking of mushrooms, let's cut those now. I just have two different kinds. So these are going to go in my stock, but I'll add them after I've added all the other ingredients for my stock, so I'll just keep them in a separate container for now. So that was Thursday. Then Friday, for lunch, I'm going to do more coleslaw, but with salmon. I do fish Fridays. And then for dinner, I'll do some an oat rice bowl with some edamame or some snow peas and some salmon. So I'm just gonna keep cutting all of these mushrooms. I'm gonna use most of them for the stock. I'll save some to put on top of my ramen on Thursday. Okay, that is all of these mushrooms. And I also have these. These are enoki mushrooms, I think they're called. Same thing. I'm just going to separate them. I'm going to use some for the stock and some for garnish. But I want to separate them all, take the little roots off if need to. And we're just building up a lot of flavors. There's a lot of umami in mushrooms. I don't like mushrooms themselves, I like the texture, but I like the flavor. So I'm going to use plenty of them for my stock. And then next up, some cilantro for my lime cilantro broccoli rice. So I'm going to cut off the stems. I'll save those for like a curry paste or something like that. And then the rest I'm just going to mince up. Just give it a quick chop. And then run my knife through until it's nice and fine. Next up, some peppers. Those are going to go in my pasta sauce, etc. I just have these pointy peppers. They're sweet peppers. I think they're called Anaheim in the States. But these are some of my favorite. And I'll just cut them in slices. I don't need them too fine, because these pointy peppers are have a thin wall, so they will pretty much melt away. So that's a red one, and I'm going to repeat the exact thing for the green one. And then here I have some chilies again for the pasta sauce, etc. So I just have 3 cayenne. I'm going to leave the seeds in, and I'm just going to give them a little slice. And then here I have some tomatoes for my pasta sauce, so I'm just going to chop them down a little bit just to help them cook down. And I just have a bunch of them, and I'll just do them all just the same. Then next up for my salad, I'm gonna do some cucumber. I have this Persian cucumber here, and I'll just cut that lengthwise, and again, and I'll cut them into little, like, dices, kind of quite rough. That is for my salad with my pita and vegetarian shawarma. And then next, I have some green beans, just a couple left over. So I'll use those with my ramen. And I'll just top and tail them real quick. Okay, that is green beans done. Then next up, for my stock, I have some celery. So I'll just take the tops off, and I'll just give them a quick slice. Don't need it super fine because it's just going to go in some stock. And depending on the size of your stock, so just do like 2 or 3. And this can go in with the rest of my soup ingredients. Then I have some carrot. I'm going to use this in a couple of things. It's going to go in my soup, in my pasta sauce, and I'm also going to julienne some to go in my coleslaw. So first, I'll slice some up for my pasta and for my soup. That's about enough for my pasta. And then cut the rest for my soup. Again, I don't need to have it like super fine or anything because I'm going to strain it out. I'm just going to use the stock. But I want it nice and even so it cooks quickly. And then that can go in with the rest of my soup ingredients. And then here I have another carrot. And this I'll julienne for my coleslaw. So that can actually go in the same container as my onion, and I'll do my cabbage in there as well. So I'll just julienne this. I like using my julienne slice because it's just quick and much more even than I could do it by hand. And this carrot is massive, so about half will be enough. Save that for another day. Next up, I have some cabbage for my coleslaw. So I'll cut that into quarters, and I'll take the core out, and then I'll just shave that nice and fine. And this is a small cabbage, so I'm just gonna use all of it. If you have a bigger one, just use half. Then here I have some broccoli. Like I said, I'm gonna use some of the florets to throw in with my pasta. So I'll just take those off and cut them a bit finer. And I decided to add some just for extra veg, but also because I have a lot of broccoli that I want to work through, so I'm going to use it in as many things as I can the next couple of weeks. And then the stem, just going to take these leaves off, and like the little remnants of the leaves and the stems. And I'm just going to get my grater and I'll turn that into broccoli rice. You can do this in a food processor, but since it's only one stem, like, it's just easy to do by hand. Actually, that's not that much. I'll grab another stem and do one more. Some stems are bigger than others, so this one was a bit on the smaller side. So I'll just do 2. It's a good way to use up broccoli stems, because they are delicious and it would be a waste to throw them away. That looks more like a healthy portion. That was broccoli stems. And now I just have some cauliflower for some cauliflower wings. I'm just going to take some of the florets off and cut them like rough wing shapes. And I'll just coat those and put them in the air fryer. See, that's kind of wing shaped. And there we go, that is cauliflower, and I'll just save this for another day, and that's also the reason why I'm leaving it on the stem, because it lasts a lot longer in the fridge if you leave it on the stem. So I'm just going to clean up a bit, get my Ninja Foodies preheated, and then we'll start making the pork belly, the coleslaw, the pasta sauce, etc. Okay, both my Ninja Foodies have preheated, so I'm just going to add a little bit of oil to both. And for my pork belly, the one I'm going to make my stock in, I have my celery, carrots, onion, garlic, and some leek. So I'll throw that in. And the other one that I'm going to make my pasta sauce in, I have some ground beef. And I'm just going to give that some color. I'll add a bit of salt to both. And in the meantime, I'm just going to score the skin of my pork belly. So I'll do it one side first. One direction, and then I'll turn it and score it the other way as well. And this will just help the fat render out. And now that the beef has got some color on it, I'm going to add my carrots. I'll add some onion, about half an onion's worth, some garlic, chilies, and some peppers. And to the braising liquid for the pork, I'm going to add some of my enoki mushrooms, about half, and my comini mushrooms, again, about half, and I'll let those soften as well. And with all the vegetables softened, it's time to add my pork belly. I'm going to put it skin side down on top of my vegetables, and I'll add enough water to mostly submerge the meat. Put on the pressure lid, switch it to pressure cook, and a big chunk of pork belly like this, I'll do it for 40 minutes. And I kept my stock quite neutral. I'm going to add a bunch of flavor to it when I make my ramen, because I'm going to use the pork belly for a bunch of different things, so I don't want to put things like ginger and stuff in there or anything like that. That's too powerful, because that will overpower it in the other dishes. I'll just make like a base stock and add other things to the pork belly when needed. And then for my pasta sauce, I'll add my fresh tomatoes. You can use canned, by the way. I just prefer using fresh whenever I can. And I'll give those a minute as well. Oh, and before I forget, with my stock, I'll also add these dried mushrooms, just to add a little bit more of a umami flavor. These are dried oyster mushrooms, so really layering on some flavors. Yeah, I could do that real quick because it hasn't come up to temperature yet. So I'm gonna start it again, 40 minutes, and that's the pork belly done then. Now that the tomatoes have softened, I'm gonna add some Italian seasoning, mix that in, add some water, and again, take the pressure lid, put that on, change to pressure cook, and this shouldn't take that long. I'll do this 20 minutes, so that can do its thing. And then I just have my coleslaw left to make, so I'll add a bit of salt, some pepper. I'm using pre-ground just because I don't want the chunky bits, some mustard. I'm using French mustard, Dijon mustard, and some mayo. Don't add too much now, because the salt will draw a lot of moisture out, so it will get wetter. You don't want to have it too wet to start with. We'll just give that a mix, and we'll add some more mayo if we need to. Give that a little taste. That is just right on. It doesn't need any more salt or pepper. Quite mustardy, which I like. So this can just go in the fridge, and I'll use this throughout the week. But yeah, then we'll just wait for the Ninja Foodies to be done, my pork belly, my stock, my pasta sauce, and then we'll be back in a moment. So my pasta sauce is done. I have a nice tray for my lasagna here. Just gonna throw in a base layer of the sauce. I'll add in some lasagna sheets. I'll add in some more sauce. Sprinkle in some shredded cheese. Some more lasagna sheets. Squish them in. Some more sauce, cheese, sheets, and I'll just keep building it up. And then I'll just finish it off with some cheese. And that is ready to go in the oven tonight. And since I used hot sauce, I didn't need to pre-boil the lasagna sheets. So I'm ready to go, and I'm just waiting for the pork belly. And that's the pork belly done. When I'm going to use that, I'm just going to slice off a piece, air fry that until it's nice and crispy, and then I'll slice it up even further. And like I said, I'll use that for a meal with the coleslaw, with my pork belly tacos, for my broccoli rice with pork belly, for my pork belly ramen. I'll use it in a bunch of different meals. And the stock I'll just strain out, and I'll just use that as a base, but I need to wait for that to cool down, so I'm not going to wait for that. But yeah, that was all the prep work done for this week. If you like this kind of content, I do this every single Sunday. And if you'd like to see what I do with this, ultimately, you can check out my Instagram where I post every single meal, or check out the video that I post on here about once a month where I show you everything I eat in a day for a whole week. So, but yeah, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Until next time, bye for now.